What's happening, guys? My name is OTG and welcome back to the Velo's Journey. If you do hear a croakiness in my voice, that is due to the fact that I have this horrible virus like a cough and a sore throat and a headache. So I have a severe case of man flu right now, but luckily Sergio doesn't. So he sits nicely in the McLaren and gets himself on the track. In practice he got himself in P15, but in the first qualifying session he got himself 126.2 and got himself in P14, and that's not bad. He's got through to the next session. He got his time in just before it started to rain, so very lucky there. Otherwise he could have been going out in Q3, which would have been the first time this season. Of course, I don't think that would have been the first time. Might have been the first time in his career, depending on whether he did it at the Williams team back in the early days. But you can see he goes purple in the middle sector, so clearly showing that the AI aren't the dominant team in these wet conditions. He showed it in Hockenheim, and it seems that he is able to do it here over in Hungary as well. So he's got something in the wet, this car has. You know, the AI have an instant traction control, but it seems that this McLaren has something in the wet as well. Clearly, being a Jenson's Button car has given him the wet weather masters hacks, as it was. Now coming across the line, we set a 126.4, which is the fastest lap of the qualifying session so far. Obviously, none of the big dogs have set their times, but Daniel Ricciardo goes out in Q2, Adrian Tittle comes home in P3, Jules Bianchi is in P6, going into the final qualifying session. This is probably the most incredible qualifying session so far. So coming across the line now, we set a 1 minute 37.4, but it's coming through into the final sector now, getting a little bit of a corner cut there, but the stewards have let him off due to the fact of the weather conditions. Now coming through the final few, coming through the middle sector now, through the winding sector, one of the most difficult sectors to get right on this track, purely down to the fact that you have either understeer or oversteer, and you never seem to have the right setup to suit every corner around this track, making it one of the most difficult tracks to really drive perfectly. Now purple again by 7/10 in the middle sector, so clearly something in the middle sector for Sergio. But he wants to improve, he wants to show his dominance around this track now. Getting a little bit of a poor line there, that's going to compromise his exit. It does indeed, but he seems to recover well. There's probably lost about 3/10 there, but it's still probably enough to set him a new personal best time and a new purple time on the board now. Coming across the line, no DRS of course, up into 5th gear, 140 miles an hour as we're up into 6th now. Cross the line of course, 1 minute 36.9, 1.1 seconds up on Lewis Hamilton. Sergio Davilo, the outright pole sitter, but mentions go to Jules Bianchi in P10, Adrian Tittle in P9, his teammate Jenson Button got P5, Massa up in P7, and Checo obviously P8, and you can see the rest of them were on your screen then. But great to see Sergio getting a pole, but probably the most impressive pole due to the fact it was 1.1 seconds faster than Lewis Hamilton, and also it was in the wet. That's just unreal. But yeah, you can see we got 50% race with a 0% chance of rain. Sergio going to start on the option tyres, and it's going to be one of them races where he really needs to hold the tyres nicely, because this track is a bitch on tyres. There's no denying it. This track is utterly dreadful on your tyres, and as you can see, we've got a rather long wait here in the garage. You know, I was just probably doing some googling of the sorts, creating folders ready for this video. But you can see the setup there if you want to copy it for the wet weather master known as Sergio Davilo, the new wet weather master as it was here at McLaren. And you guys in the last episode had your say about whether or not we should join Ferrari. So what did you say? Well, many of you said stay at McLaren, many of you said stay at Ferrari, and you know, it was very split, but it seemed to be that the overall consensus was to stay at McLaren, but a lot of you said stay at Ferrari, and I don't think there was really an even Steven outcome really, because you know, I felt bad either way. So what I want you to do is in this video continue to say again, what team would you like us to join? There's probably a chance of us joining any team in the calendar, so when it comes to picking our rival, who do you want us to join? Do you want us to join the Williams, the Red Bull, the Mercedes, the Ferrari, or the McLaren again? But we've got 5 lights, so we're away here at Hungary. We'll talk about that in a minute, but we're underway now, getting off to a decent start. But Lewis Hamilton dropping into our slipstream, the cheeky little Brit. What a cheeky Brit. He's going to have tea and biscuits. Brazilians giving the stereotypes the Brits there. Going into turn 1, he leaves a gap for Lewis Hamilton there, but Lewis Hamilton doesn't take it, and Sergio leads into turn 1, coming down into turn 2. Whether or not you count that little right-hander there, it is turn 2, I don't know, but we're coming through, and he takes a very deep line there, getting onto the AstroTurf, all 4 wheels off the track now, leaving a gap open to Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton around the outside, Lewis Hamilton sticking it, and that is a beautiful move from the one-time world champion, wink wink, as he goes around the outside. Sergio with a brilliant move, keeping it clean, and that is just about one of the moves of the season, and that is really good side-by-side racing from two world champions, Lewis Hamilton of 08 and Sergio of 14 now. Oh, was it 14 or didn't this think? So it's 2013, 14, 15. Oh no, let's think. 2013, 14, 15. I think he was a 2015 world champion. This is 2016 maybe? Oh, whatever. He was I think he was 2015 world champion. I would assume that's how it went down. But yeah, I don't even know, but yeah, you can see on lap 10 now, Perez is up into P2, so he's doing a fine job up there. Now we come into the pit lane for a fresh set of tyres, whether it's primes or optional, about to find out, but the car behind us, so I think is Lewis Hamilton. Yes, it is Hamilton, comes into the pits as well, along with a cluster of other cars, including the Lotus of Ferrari, the Mercedes of Hamilton, Red Bull, which I would assume is Vettel, and very many others. And we don't get held up, which is just a blessing in disguise. You don't know how helpful it is not having to do that. And did you see that? Do you see the Marussia there? Jules Bianchi was ahead of a Williams, and there's Pastor Maldonado. We've got to get out ahead of him. There's no debating. We need to get out ahead of Crastor Maldonado. But yeah, we're purple in the middle sector by 17.9 seconds. That just shows Sergio is dominant. 10 seconds down on Valtteri Bottas, or Valtteri, however you want to pronounce it. Now coming through this final corner, we never seem to get it right in practice in the qualifying session. Quite nicely done there. Now coming around the final corner, got a slap of oversteer there. You could see just battling with the car a little bit, but it seems to be going nicely, this car around this track, nice and calm, no wheel spin as we go purple, a 125.4. so Sergio clearly on fire at the moment. It just depends on whether the cars behind are going to go faster than them. Let's have a look. And no, Sergio's the fastest man on track at the moment. Very rare you'd see that at Hungary, especially with my pace around this track. Jesus Christ, I'm pretty terrible around this track. It's one of my bogey tracks, but I enjoy it a lot more. I've enjoyed my last season bogey tracks like China a lot more in this game. I think Codemaster's done a great job appealing to me. But you can see he's dropped off the pace a little bit, where he's pushed early on his tyres. He's compromised the rest of his strategy. Maybe a little bit of a mistake there from Sergio. He's still thinking he's in the Mercedes from last season, where he could push on the tyres but still be okay. But this McLaren seems to be a bit of a bitch on its tyres. We go on to a fresh set of prime tyres now into the pit lane. Let's see what the garage can do. They need to get him out as quickly as possible. Try and get a bit of an undercut. It's going to be an extra stop than the AI, I assume, and it's going to have to be one of them races where he really has to push now. So Sergio out of the pits. He's in P15, and there's some traffic coming, but he should come out clearly ahead of them, and he does indeed. Still the fastest man on track, of course, but he still needs to push on these prime tyres now. Coming through the first corner, nicely done, gets on the power up into third gear now, and that's him off and away. Coming around the second from last corner, or the penultimate corner, whichever way you want to put it. He's down in 15th still, when he comes around the final corner, getting it nicely, getting onto the power, up into fourth gear at 100 miles an hour, up into rich fuel mixture, no DRS, but he's going to come up to up to pitted cars. And in the distance there, you can see Mr. Lewis Hamilton has jumped him in the pit stop stage. He's finding something in them option tyres. Mercedes, of course, a very quick car, and when he's in clean air, he's going to capitalise on that. And Lewis Hamilton moves up into provisional first position, as the rest of the cars have not pitted now. And you can see somehow the cars ahead have not pitted yet, and there is the Williams of Valtteri Bottas on the option tyres. And you can see earlier he was about 10 seconds up the road, and as he pitted we overtook him. But Sergio battling and squabbling with Valtteri Bottas now, side by side action. This is great stuff from the Williams and the McLarens. A little bit of contact there, a bit of argy-bargy, Bottas turning in on him, not giving him room, and Sergio gets the move done. And now Kimi Räikkönen around the outside, a lovely sweeping move similar to what Hamilton did on Sergio on lap 1. won, but it was more effective than what Lewis Hamilton was able to do, and that's a really, really good manoeuvre. Now it's teammates going squabble, so it seems that Hulkenberg has jumped him somehow in the pit stops. I don't even know how. Hulkenberg must be going for a less tyre strategy, as Sergio, defending from his teammate, goes very, very deep there, and Button seems to get the move. He's got DRS. It's going to take something very, very special from Sergio to get this one back. He brakes late now up the inside. No contact. That is a very, very nice move indeed. Look at that from Sergio. No contact. A bit of maturity there from Button not to turn in on him, but Sergio really the ultimate opportunist there to keep the points. It's not about the points really. The points are great for this championship battle, but more importantly it's the rivalry between teammates, just to prove he's the better man in the McLaren car as he crosses the line in P6. Not the best races from pole position, but when you're in a car like this, you don't expect to be going for the pole and fastest lap and the race win, of course. It's not usually expected, but it's still a solid performance from the boys, and they should be pleased with how they did. They were fastest over a course of one lap than Jenson Button and also Valtteri Bottas. So, yeah, isn't that bad of a race. Fernando Alonso also down in P11, so the gain points on him along with Vettel. You know, the bad signs are both Force Indias have beaten them. The Red Bull of Daniel Ricciardo and also Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg have beaten them. But guys, I need you to tell me one thing. Where should we go for Season 3? Do we stay at McLaren and try and develop the car and turn it back into a World Championship winning car? We could definitely do that with the R&D and upgrades, of course, every season. Or do we move on to somewhere like Red Bull, a team we haven't been to, Williams, return to our roots, or try and get back to the Lotus car and try and give them former glory? But guys, leave it down below, leave your opinions. You can see the constructors and drivers. We're still third in the constructors and third in the drivers championship. So going into the Christmas period, guys, I'd like to wish you a very Merry Christmas. I hope you guys have a very prosperous New Year, of course, but I will see you before New Year with an episode of the Village Journey and also some co-op career mode. If you hope you get everything you want and every think you could desire at Christmas. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and yeah, I will see you guys next time, and enjoy the disappointment of Sergio Davilo and his mechanics. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.